Dinner turns into another argument about the same old thing. After all these years together, you wonder how your partner can still understand you so little. Sometimes you stop talking altogether because it feels as though nothing will change anyway. And on especially difficult days, a question may cross your mind. Why did I end up with this person? When things are good, the relationship feels like something precious. When things are hard, you may wonder whether you chose the wrong person. A careless comment from someone you barely know is easy to forget. The same comment from your spouse can stay with you for days. If someone else had said it, you might have let it go. But when your partner says it, it carries much more weight. That is because the words do not belong only to that one moment. They can bring back years of disappointment, things you have quietly endured, and everything you feel you have given. In a long relationship, one small remark can touch an entire history. But is one sentence from your partner really the whole reason it hurts so much? Perhaps what hurts is also the expectation you have carried for years. After all this time together, you think they should know without being told. You may think that because you have done so much, they should naturally do the same for you. In Buddhist teaching, attachment is not only about refusing to let go of possessions. We can also become attached to the idea that another person should be a certain way. That does not mean we should expect nothing from the people we love. It means noticing the distance between the partner we wish we had and the person actually standing in front of us. And if we are fair, we have probably not become exactly who our partner once hoped we would be either. Both people change, yet we often expect the relationship itself to remain unchanged. So why do people change? And when a relationship changes, does that mean something has gone wrong? Think for a moment about an old wedding photograph. The two people in that picture were younger and knew very little about the life ahead of them. They did not know how exhausted they might become while raising children. They did not know how much worry money could bring. They did not know they might one day be discussing hospital visits for aging parents. They may not have imagined how quiet the dinner table could feel after their children left home. Through all of those years, their bodies changed. What mattered to them changed too. Things that once felt easy may feel difficult now. And sometimes it takes decades to see parts of another person that were invisible when you were young. Buddhist teaching offers an important way of understanding this. Everything shaped by conditions is constantly changing. This is the teaching of impermanence. It may sound obvious, yet in our closest relationships, we often forget it. We accept that people change, but still expect our spouse to remain the person they once were. We may even expect the relationship to feel the way it did when love was new. But change and failure are not the same thing. When you were young, love may have looked like holding hands. Years later, love may look like remembering the date of a medical appointment. You may once have stayed up talking until late at night. Now affection may be as quiet as sliding the better side dish toward the other person without saying anything. Love changes shape as life changes. If we recognize only its earlier form, we may miss the care that is still here. The harder we demand that a changing person remain unchanged, the more painful the relationship can become. And that brings us back to the question we started with. Why did I meet this particular person in the first place? When marriage becomes difficult, people sometimes say something half-jokingly. What did I do in a past life to end up with this person? Sometimes it is only a joke. On an exhausting day, it can feel like a genuine question. If you could only understand why you met this person, perhaps the pain would make more sense. But we do not have to uncover some unknowable story from the past to understand the relationship we have now. Buddhist teaching speaks of dependent origination. It means that nothing comes into being through one cause alone. What exists now has been shaped by many conditions coming together. A marriage is no different. Falling in love did not decide everything that would happen over the next several decades. The relationship was shaped by the difficulties you faced together. It was shaped by the words you exchanged. It was also shaped by the words you never managed to say. Seen this way, the idea of a bond or connection begins to mean something different. A marriage is not a finished answer created at the moment two people meet. It is something they continue to create through the way they live together. So the question can change. Instead of asking only, "Why did I meet this person?" we can also ask, "What kind of relationship have we created between us? And what kind of relationship are we creating from here?" The words you choose today become part of what comes next. So do the words you decide not to say when you are angry. Sometimes wisdom means moving closer. Sometimes it means creating some distance. A relationship does not have to be preserved at any cost simply because we call it fate or connection. What matters is seeing clearly what is actually shaping the relationship now. But this can raise another difficult question. If the other person truly hurt me, why should I be the one examining my own heart? There is an easy thing to say to someone who has been hurt. Just forgive them. Forget about it and move on. But pain built over many years does not disappear because someone tells us to let it go. If you have been repeatedly dismissed or ignored, anger is understandable. If the same harm keeps happening, clear boundaries may be necessary. And if a relationship involves violence, ongoing humiliation, or anything that threatens your safety, distance and outside help may need to come first. Compassion does not mean leaving yourself in a place where you are being harmed. So what does Buddhist wisdom mean when it speaks about letting go? There is a Buddhist teaching that hatred is not ended by more hatred. That does not mean pretending the other person did nothing wrong. You can speak honestly about what happened. You can draw a line where a line is needed. The deeper question is whether their actions will continue to control your inner life long after the moment has passed. Compassion does not erase another person's wrongdoing. It means refusing to let that wrongdoing occupy your mind forever. Forgiveness does not always mean becoming close again. Sometimes you can release hatred while still keeping your distance. You may not be able to change the other person, but you can keep the same anger from burning inside you without end. None of this means that what happened was acceptable. It simply means that one painful part of the relationship does not contain the whole story of the life you have lived together. And sometimes that realization arrives on an entirely ordinary day. It is an ordinary night. Your partner has fallen asleep before you. You have seen that face thousands of times. Then, for some reason, they suddenly look older than you remember. You notice how much their hair has turned gray. You notice the lines across their hands. Because you have seen them every day, you somehow failed to notice time passing little by little. And suddenly, years seem to appear all at once. Old memories may come back with them. You remember the face you argued with when you were young. You remember the nights neither of you slept because a child was sick. You remember sitting quietly together while worrying about money. Through all those different seasons, this was the same person beside you. Earlier, we spoke about impermanence. But sometimes impermanence is understood not in the mind, but in the heart. It happens when you suddenly realize that this person will not always be here exactly as they are now. And at the same moment, you may realize that you have grown older too. The hurts you have carried do not disappear. Neither does every trace of resentment. But for a moment, they may take up a different amount of space. You begin to see that the years between you cannot be explained by hurt alone. Perhaps you have seen so much of what is difficult in this person simply because you have spent so much life beside them. To live with someone for a long time is not to see only their best qualities for a long time. You also see their weakness. You see their mistakes. Sometimes you see them at their most frightened, tired, or undignified. And they have seen those same parts of you. Perhaps marriage is not only about loving what is beautiful in another person. Perhaps it is also about witnessing how both of you change, weaken, and remain imperfect over time. So what do we do with the years that are still left? We may never know why we met this particular person. But we can know what time is still in front of us. We can choose how we speak today. Even when we are angry, we can decide which words do not need to be said. If there is gratitude we have never expressed, we can still say it. If the same wound keeps repeating, we can make clear what we will no longer accept. After many years together, love does not always look like tenderness or romance. Sometimes it looks like setting out someone's medicine. Sometimes it is turning off the light after they fall asleep. Sometimes it is choosing not to say the sentence that would only cause another wound. And when necessary, caring for yourself may mean creating distance. We have come this far without ever understanding each other completely. We have hurt each other. At times, we have also become burdens to one another. And still, it is true that we have traveled through part of this life together. Perhaps we did not endure everything simply because we loved each other. Perhaps some of what we call love was formed while we were enduring life together. Whenever you can, choose the wiser way. Rather than asking only why this person came into your life, consider another question. What kind of relationship do you want to create with the time that remains?